Hello, welcome back to Learn Economia. In this video, we are going to discuss the topic deadweight loss. We will be answering the question, what is deadweight loss in this review. We have to see that when we say deadweight loss, it is actually a cost to the society which would be created as a result of market inefficiency. And what is market inefficiency altogether? Market inefficiency means the price which is charged by a seller from a buyer is something which would be inefficient to capture the certain aspects of the market. For example, if you are taking some commodity market, for example, soap market or paste market or whatever it may be, uh, the price would be inefficient to capture certain cost in it. So that makes the market inefficient. Okay, and why this market inefficiency is causing is because of several reasons like externalities, insufficient information asymmetry, all these kinds of things. So here there would be a mismatch between demand price and supply price. So as a result, we can see that the price charged by the seller is not what the price paid by the buyer. So there is a difference between these two prices. There is a difference between demand price and supply price. Mainly, this deadweight loss, when it comes to the arena of economics, we see this concept especially in the area of microeconomics or environmental economics. Deadweight loss can be applied to any deficiency caused by an inefficient allocation of resources. We can see a wide variety of applications in the of deadweight loss in economics, like you can see in price controls, you can see it in rent controls, you can see it in price flows, all these kinds of things, and also in taxations we can see deadweight loss happening. With a reduced level of trade, the allocation of resources in a society might also become inefficient. Here too we can see deadweight loss. As I have already told you, deadweight loss occur as a result of market inefficiency, and this occurs as a result of overvaluation of good or undervaluation of good. While certain members of society might benefit from this kind of imbalance, whereas if you look into some other section, you can see that these people suffer from a negative kind of situation, or they suffer from a loss. When consumers do not feel the price of a good or service is justified when compared to the perceived utility, what they do is that they try to um, try not to purchase them. So they don't want the commodity because they perceive that the utility which they could get from consuming the commodity would be very much less than the price that they have to pay for the commodity. So as a result, since the utility is less than the price which they have to pay, what they choose is that they will go without purchasing the commodity. For example, overvalued prices. If now coming to the other case, overvalued prices may lead to higher profit margins for a company, but it negatively affects the consumers of the product. So this is very much important. You have to consider that when there is market inefficiency, there would be some kind of overvaluation or undervaluation of the product. Coming to inelastic commodity, for example, the commodities which we could see that the what is first of all elasticity of demand. It is the responsiveness of quantity demanded of a commodity to the change in the price of the commodity. So even if the price change is very much dramatic, as a result of this price change, the quantity demanded, if it doesn't change much, then we can see that the commodity is inelastic. So commodities like very much essential commodities like medicines are considered to be very much inelastic, and also some necessity commodities like salt, all these kinds of things are considered to be inelastic goods, right? So here the increased cost might prevent the consumers from making purchases in some other market, some other sectors. Here we can see that the demand does not change for the particular good or service when the price goes up or down. That it's inelastic good mean. And in addition, we can see that some consumer might purchase lower quantity of the item when it is possible. On the other hand, in the case of elastic commodities, here the price change is more than the change in quantity demanded. So here this means that consumer might reduce spending in the market sector to compensate or be priced out of the market entirely. Undervalued products could be considered to be desirable for consumers, but it could prevent producers from replicating their production cost. So when you look into a commodity, the price of a product in the market, you have to see that from two perspectives. From the perspective of a buyer, from the perspective of a seller. That means from consumer's perspective and from producer's perspective. If the product remains undervalued for a substantial period, then what happens is that producers will either choose to no longer sell the product up the price to equilibrium or maybe forced out of the market entirely. So this means that the product is undervalued in the sense that the consumers are not willing to pay more for the commodity. So as a result, what happens is that the consumer, so the producers find it less gainful to sell the product in the market. As a result, they will either stop selling the product or they will exit the market. Now, we have to see why deadweight loss is created and how deadweight loss is created. In the beginning itself, I have told you several reasons that will create deadweight loss in society. Here, as a result of deadweight loss, there is a loss of consumer welfare as well as there is a loss of producers' welfare. So altogether there is a loss of welfare for the society. We can see that minimum wage and living wage loss could create deadweight loss, and this would cause employers to overpay for employees, and this would prevent low skilled workers from securing jobs. And also we can see deadweight loss could be created as a result of price ceilings and rent controls. Consumers experience shortages and producers can earn less or otherwise. So this too create deadweight loss in society. Another cause of deadweight loss is taxation. We know that when tax is introduced, if it is introduced for a consumer or if it is introduced for a producer, there would be a loss of welfare, right? So this will create a deadweight loss. If taxes on an item rise, what happens is that the burden is often split between the producer and the consumer. So as a result of the same, we can see that there is a loss of both consumer surplus and producer surplus. All these would result in lower consumption of the item than previously, which reduces the overall benefit of the consumer and producer. Monopolies and oligopolies too can create deadweight loss in society, and uh, this would remove the aspects of a perfect market. So we know the difference between different types of market structures: monopolies, oligopolies, perfect competition, etc. We know that perfect competition is the ideal form of market structure, with the extreme opposite of perfect competition is a monopoly. And so when there is a monopoly existing, there is only a single seller in the market and he can charge any price, whatever price he likes. I'm not telling that he can change, he can go to the maximum extreme possible, but there too is a boundary for him to go. But still, what compared to perfect competition in a monopoly, the seller, since he is the only one in the market who sells a particular product, he can sell the product at a higher price. The profit earned by a monopolist would be very much higher than what is earned in other kinds of market structure. And monopolies and oligopolies, they can control the supply of a particular commodity, and as a result they can influence the price of commodity in a very much dramatic fashion, and this would eventually lead to lower amount of goods and services sold in the market. Coming to some examples of deadweight loss, I'm going to read an example here. So a new sandwich shop opens in your neighborhood, and this is selling sandwich for $10. You perceive the value of the sandwich to be $12. Therefore, you are very much happy because you are not paying $12, you are paying only $10. So the consumer surplus here is $2, right? Now, you assume that the government imposes a sales tax on the commodity, and this has risen the cost of your sandwich to $15. Well, now earlier the cost was 10, now it is $15, and your perceived price is $12, right? Now at $15 you feel that sandwich is overvalued, and you believe that the new cost is not a fair price. And what would happen is that you are not willing to purchase a sandwich for $15, because as per your perception, the sandwich is only worth rupees 12, so you are not willing to pay $15. Many consumers, but not all consumers, would feel in this manner, and as a result they would uh, choose not to buy the product. As a result, there would be a reduction in the demand for the sandwich and decline in the revenue for the seller who sells the sandwich. The deadweight loss in this example is unsold sandwiches as a result of the new cost, that is $15. The decrease in demand would create a kind of loss for the seller also. If the decrease in demand is very much severe, the sandwich shop could go out of the business, and this would further increase the negative economic effects of the new tax. So I think you got some idea with respect to what is deadweight loss, and we have given certain examples to make you very much understanding with respect to this concept. I'll request you to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos, and you can be a part of my Telegram channel and Telegram group to discuss your doubts. I'll be providing the links of these in the description box. That's all for today. Thank you.